There's not a lot of testing on ours because we don't have probably the police officers is going to be the most testing.
I'll keep you informed. Let me know if you need something.
Kevin Carter, I'll get in touch with you.
The new Gretchen. What's up, Gretchen?
He was asking me about he was going to get a 1099 or whatever he got paid on his contract stuff for Stephanie. So I don't know. Yeah, I haven't done 10 yet. We just but I figured if anybody knows, that's going to come from. Well, he didn't pay. He said he did. Yeah, it's out of the $100 reason current harassment. That's that money put up. Okay. Yeah, I'll be doing it tonight.
Alright, we have 4:33, and at this time we'll call the meeting of the Canyon City Commission to order. With that, Commissioner Kramer, would you do some prayer?
Please pray with me. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today, Lord. We're just thankful for another beautiful day outside. Lord, be with our city and the workers in our city as they prepare for possible weather coming up. Please help everyone to be safe during that time if it does hit our area. Lord, be with our commission today as we listen and make the best decisions possible for the city as we move forward. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, takes us to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of January 6, 2026.
If no additions, I move to approve.
Second. Have a motion second to approve minutes as written. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion passes. Public comment. Comments from interested citizens.
I don't have anyone signed in there.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Item number 6, consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1245, an ordinance of the City of Canyon, Texas, removing real property from the extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ of the City of Canyon, on petition of landowners, and reducing the ETJ of the City of Canyon in accordance with such action and providing for an effective date. Dustin.
Good evening. A little more relaxed in here than last meeting. This last December, the City of Canyon received a petition for release from the extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ, pursuant to Section 42102 of the Texas Local Government Code. Just as a quick reminder for you guys, an ETJ is essentially a buffer zone that allows municipalities to extend their influence to areas for growth and development. So the City of Canyon's ETJ actually extends outside the city limits for a mile. So according to Section 42.104, and I'm paraphrasing, if a landowner obtains a petition required under Section 42.102 to release an area from the city's ETJ, the municipality shall immediately release the area from the ETJ. However, the petition and corresponding resolution is being brought to you guys tonight because Section 42.023 states that the ETJ of the city may not be reduced unless the governing body of the city gives its written consent by ordinance or resolution. So this item is to consider a parcel of land owned by Mr. W. Fireworks located at 24,000 South US Highway 87. City staff and city legal have reviewed the certificates of signature authority for the formation documents of the LLC and confirmed that the consent to action is sufficient documentation to support the ETJ's removal. To ensure compliance with state law and provide for greater clarity and effectiveness, city staff recommends that the city commission adopt ordinance number 1245, removing this real parcel of land from the city's ETJ. And answer any questions you guys have on.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, and a second. Is there any further discussion on the item? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, item number 7, consider and take appropriate action on agreements with Page and Associates Contractors, Inc. to serve as construction manager, construction contractor for the 2025 series laundry-led public safety facilities construction and remodeling project. Bo, Phil?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Last November, this commission authorized staff to begin contract negotiations with Page and Associates for construction manager at risk services for the voter-approved public safety bond facilities project. That does include the renovations for the police station, fire station, and city hall facilities, as well as the construction of a fire training classroom and truck bay facility, fire burn house, fire physical training facility, and an animal shelter. Before you today is the proposed contract that has been negotiated with Page and Associates. Now, there is a USDA grant for the fire station renovations that will also impact this agreement. I'm going to hand things over to Mr. Burns to kind of give some details for that agreement.
We're actually on a phone call just this morning with USDA folks. This would be the funding that we got from the federal government through Ronnie Jackson's office. It's 1.4 million. Brief call this morning, about 30 minutes. We just discussed the project basically, and thank goodness Dustin and Joe have a lot of experience with the paperwork and the things we need to do with this. They're familiar with this grant process, so it shouldn't be a problem. There are certain hurdles that we will have to clear along the way. It'll add some extra things to a couple of processes that we're going to do. But we actually talked about this on Friday, and contractor knows it's coming, and architect knows it's coming, and so we ought to be able to work our way through that. But that'll be an additional 1.4 that'll go specifically for renovations on the firehouse. So we're looking forward to that. It did bring more money to the table.
Any of these hurdles are gonna have to jump through, and any cause concern for us?
No, I think that we'll be able to work through that. Well, our architect will help us, and again, our friends at Page will help us with that. What we'll want to do is be very, very specific about how we use those funds, and use those funds for specific things. We don't want to just say we're going to use it and we're just going to drop those funds on top of the whole project, because then the whole project has more rules to follow. And basically, it's our Buy America, which is what we'll have to do, and those are all not a bad thing to do, but something that we need to do. So we'll try to limit the amount of exposure we have. I guess, would that be the right way to use it?
Yeah, and just, you got, it's more paperwork, and so we've had to do it in the alley over here. It just takes time. Like, literally just say, okay, this steel was here, you know, this product was here, and it does add some more paperwork to that. But like John said, we're just gonna centralize it to that scope. So while we have multiple other facilities we're gonna work on, that scope will only apply to these government compliance. Dustin, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's exactly right. And really the reason to kind of limit those, like John's saying, is the upfront, I mean, it's a lot of paperwork. There's environmental review, Buy America is a good thing, but it's a lot of documentation that you have to keep up with. So hopefully figuring out that scope of work for $1.4 million will help with that. So
in theory, if we had two things that we could buy for the $1.4 million, we'd say that's what we're going to use your money for, and then we would just go through all the process for those two items. It's not going to be that way, but we'll try to make it as simple as possible.
Right, and we're not gonna outsource the grant administration. The three of us will handle that. Mr. Meyer is willing to do the environmental assessment in-house. I think he and I can get that done and do that all in-house, where we typically would have either our engineer do that, or our regional planning commission would do that. We feel we can do that work. It's a lot less cumbersome than our CDBG projects
Right.
that we've done.
Right.
So some of those boxes have to be checked, but it's a lot less or a lot less paper, a lot less red tape.
I think we felt pretty good after the phone call today.
Yeah.
Did have one question I was asking Joe earlier, so, we've got broken down on the chart there, so our total of our $13 million budget, estimated, contract cost, 10.5, and plus the, CMAR services and architect contingency. But I guess my question is, so the 10.5, that's, fits in with the guaranteed maximum price. As long as we don't have change orders, we all fit into 13 million with that 10.5, and is that?
This is not yet considered the guaranteed maximum price. That will take place further on, further in the planning phase.
Okay.
That's one more thing that the city doesn't need to agree on with Page & Associates, once they do present that to the city, but that 10.5 is still in.
And we have folks from Page here also, if there was a specific question, but Bo, that was a great answer on how that process works.
Who authorizes change orders?
The city has to sign off on that.
Who specifically?
It would be.
It'd be,
the
architect, obviously, the change order would start with the CMAR, which would be Page, let's flow up to the architect, and then eventually to management.
Come to staff.
If it's over a certain dollar amount, that has to go to the body.
Is that Mike or is that Bill?
That's us.
That's
That would be
city
me. That'd be
staff.
fine. Obviously, I'm gonna rely on John and Mike. They're gonna look through that, and then they'll advise me.
I think our goal, and I think anybody's goal is to limit the number of change orders.
For sure.
That's always a goal. We already talked about, we had a great meeting, Mike was there, we had a great meeting Friday. We've already talked about some, pad alternates. We're gonna go in for concrete, if we can't afford the concrete, once we get the pad alternates, the asphalt, for parking lots and those kind of things. Knowing that there are certain things that can park on asphalt, but we don't need our heavy trucks driving on asphalt all the time, because that wouldn't be good, so that drive needs to be concrete. But the parking lot out front where they park their cars wouldn't necessarily have to be concrete. So we've already started to talk about that. Through phase one, which is just where we are through the first two projects, we're just talking about what those add alternates would be and working through that.
One thing that the USDA did tell us, so we've gotta get through some of the things that Dustin and John and I looked over. And so we gotta get through environmental assessment, get some of that stuff done, and get it compliant. They said once everything was good and green lighted, it'd take about a month. And so these funds are with the federal treasury. And so once they get all those boxes checked, then they'll do a request to Treasury to deposit those, I assume locally is how they made it sound. So on the 1.4, once that's approved, he said it's about a month or two.
And we're not into those funds for quite some time. It's several months before we're touching.
It may be some time, and so
that.
John did a great job explaining that, we're gonna have, obviously the best idea is when we build the building up here, they're gonna allow us to shift equipment around so nothing's outside, so it's just gonna take some time to do that.
So, John, I think this is pretty much what you're saying, but you talked about part of the process with Page, probably during this time, that, really be, proactive, work on value engineering
Yep.
with the architects to
Yep.
say, hey, we can do, so I think that's what I'm hearing you saying, we're in the process right now.
Yes, sir.
And to authorize city staff to enter agreements with Page & Associates Contractors, Inc. to serve as construction manager, constructor, and contractor for the 2025 series bond-related public safety facilities, construction and remodeling project.
Second.
I'm sorry, did it get?
That was.
Commissioner Potter?
We have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign, motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, consider taking appropriate action on resolution number 03-2026, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Randall County, Texas, authorizing the submission and acceptance of the grant application to the Office of the Governor for the D.J. Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant grant program for the year 3 of a police officer hiring project for the City of Canyon Police Department, and authorizing the chief of police to represent the city in all matters pertaining to this application. Chief Bray.
Thank you. So this is the third year we're asking for a resolution to continue our grant. We did an officer hiring grant in fiscal year 25 that we brought a cadet on, and we've been paying him. This started as 100% grant funds. The second year we did the grant, 100% grant funds, and this year will be 60% grant funds with the city contributing the other 40% to that officer's salary and benefits. This is a 5-year project, and it'll keep trickling down until we reach the 5th year when we absorb the whole cost. The state has opened the grant submissions, and those are due mid-February. So we're just seeking a resolution to be allowed to apply for this grant. There was a change to the resolution this year by order from the state, where it also directs it has a paragraph designating the Director of Finance as the grantee's financial officer, as well as me being the authorized official. Joel and I worked quite a bit on this particular grant during this year, so he's aware of what's going on with it.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions for the chief? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Chief. And then the next one also, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 04-2026, a resolution of the City Commissions of the City of Canyon, Randall County, Texas, authorizing the submission and acceptance of grant application to the Office of the Governor for the Criminal Justice Division grant program for the purchase of rifle-resistant vests for the City of Canyon Police Department, and authorizing the Chief of Police to represent the city in all matters pertaining to this application.
Thank you. This is a different grant. It has the same deadline. It opened through the governor's office, and it has the same deadline in early February to submit for this grant. Last year we submitted this grant for about a little over $36,000. It's 100% reimbursed by the state after we purchase the vest, and we submit cost, and they reimburse that amount. And last year we submitted for 11 vests, and this year we're going to try to finish out the rest of the department with more rifle-resistant vests. These are a different kind of rifle-resistant vests than we've used in the past. So this is why we're trying to catch up on this, and in addition to replacing some that are already starting to expire. So the same thing, the grant requires a resolution authorizing an authorized official and a financial officer to apply for that.
Motion and second. All in favor, or is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, item number 10, discuss street maintenance plans for fiscal year 2026, including Brick Street repairs and Hunsley Road maintenance. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. Kind of been on a roll. I'm gonna try not to slow things down too much here, but so we currently have in our budget $453,200 for street maintenance. We've tried to develop a plan to address some of the major concerns throughout the city. One of the main themes is brick streets. We're going to try to allocate $100,000 of that funding to do some repairs through there. We got a quote from our contractor. If you'll recall, we did this area in front of Joe Taco. I just found out it was in 2023. I thought it was in 2024, but so it was a little bit longer ago than I thought. But I think they did a good job fixing that. I don't remember. I think we spent like $12,000 on that with our contractor. So what I did is I went back to that contractor and had him quote us essentially a 20 by 30 repair, so that we could try to figure out some of the areas that we can address with that. I think we got a pretty good price on that. He quoted us about $5,500 for a 20 by 30 repair. So that would allow us to do about 15 to 20 spot repairs on the brick streets. The next 4 slides of this are some of those areas. Megan and I went around and took some pictures. You can see this one's, the shadow kind of messed with my picture there, but it's really a pretty good area there that needs to be addressed. This one is at, where is that, Megan? 15th Street and 7th Avenue, yeah. So there's that one there. 7th Avenue we determined is essentially one of the worst streets we have, for brick streets anyway. It's rough. Drivability is a challenge there for sure. So 2 of these that we've picked for examples are on 7th Avenue. This one's around 20th Street and 7th Avenue. You can see that there was an asphalt patch there made several years ago. It seems to have held up okay, but everything around it is kind of filling. I think the next one is on 6th Avenue, maybe, yeah. So this one's at 14th Street and 6th Avenue. You can see that one's right in the intersection. But still, I think a 20 by 30 area would probably fix a lot of that. It allows us to pull some of that asphalt down there as well. Go back with brick to get a smoother surface in there. And then the last one we have is on 3rd Avenue there. Again, another significant area that's failing. One of the things that we run into when we do these spot patches is that area is becomes rigid and everything around it kind of starts to settle. And so it kind of creates another drivability issue that we have to be cautious of, right? So ultimately, I think that we really need to get to a point where we're rebuilding these block patches. So I realize that we have to keep a set safety factor there, right? And so we're going to try to patch some of these. I say 15 to 20 areas because there may be some areas that we do a little bit more than 20 by 30, right? So that may eat into that a little bit. So that's kind of the plan right now moving forward for brick streets. The other thing that we want to address is Hunsley Road. If you guys will recall, in November the NPO had COSA projects. We submitted Hunsley Road for that. This is kind of the overall build of what we want to see that look like. We submitted for concrete to be the surface there, with some storm sewer in there. We'd like to do a bike lane and pedestrian sidewalk on the south side of it, you know, so a lot of people walk to Walmart through there. So that's the other thing that we eventually want to do. In the meantime, though, that surface is really struggling on Hunsley Road. You guys have probably noticed there's been several potholes that open up there in front of Crestview Elementary. We've tried to address those as we can, using just a bucket mix or something. Back in 2004, 2005, when Walmart was constructed, that road was overlaid, and then it was deeded to the city of Canyon. I don't know if there's a county road or a state. Textile. Yeah, because that's FJ 331. But that was overlaid and given to us. And from what I can find, around 2011, 2013, somewhere in there, there was one cracks or seal coat that was performed on it, and that's the only maintenance that's been done to that road since then. What we found in the holes that are opening up, it's just that top layer of overlay that's breaking out of there. So everything beneath that seems to be in decent shape, but I'm fearful that we might make it through this winter. I don't know that we'll make it much longer than that with this surface. So we've had internal discussions, we've discussed it with contractors, we've discussed it with our engineer. We think that the best plan of action moving forward for that, to get us a few more years out of it before we can get to the full build out, is a double course micro surfacing. That's similar to what you see at City Hall here. It's a little bit smoother surface, but it will really extend the life of that until we can get this other project going. We think we can get that done for around $250,000. We did get a ballpark number from a contractor that was in the $160,000 range. That did not include the restriping of it though. And so we really want to do this from essentially just west of Country Club Drive all the way to the Gagestone culvert bridges there. It seems from there on it seems to be in pretty good shape. So like I said, we really want to do that just to extend the life long enough for us to work on the NPO project and try to get that done. At that point, I've set some costs in front of you guys. You've probably seen that before, but when we submitted that, we anticipate the cost of that overall build out being about $4.9 million. For the match, I'm hoping that we can essentially put back 2 years' worth of, street maintenance, to come up with that match. Right now, the infield does have a little bit of a surplus. Obviously, there are projects that TxDOT has that may eat into some of that, but there is kind of a lack of projects, so I'm kind of hopeful that we can get that moved up from 2030 to maybe 2028 or so. So that would give us a couple of years to come up with that match, and set back those street maintenance years. We are gonna have to do some serious thinking, considerations for street maintenance in general. You know, we didn't do any last year because we used some of that funding for the purchase of the new police department, the police station. This year we're gonna be limited on that because, you know, we've only got $450,000 in there, roughly, so.
So there won't be a chip seal project this year?
No, we won't do a chip seal project this year. This will kind of replace it, but this is really the major concern area for us right now, Sunset Road. It's falling apart, so.
So this whole thing here, is this from Foxy all the way to the overpass?
No, sir, that will be essentially this same area. So TxDOT is widening a portion of that, right, from 2590. And so they're coming back around 900 feet. So that right there would get us from where they leave off to essentially the culvert bridge at Page Line.
Oh, just to the culvert?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That'll hopefully fix all the storm.
Stormwater issue. Yeah, that would help with that. You guys will notice we're getting a lot of erosion through there. So, the plan is to go back with storm sewer through there. We'd have to rebuild the driveways there to the north and then those for, Crestview Elementary as well. But, really would be a good project, I think, for us. We could get a lot of life out of that road. That road sees a lot of traffic through it, for sure. And I know we've got weight restrictions on it. I don't know that we can do anything to really enforce those. So there's a lot of truck traffic that goes through there as well.
When do you project to start this project? When do you think you'll do it?
The maintenance project? It'd be mid to late summer. Intermountain has done the last microsurfacing project that we have. They come down and do a lot of work for Amarillo as well. They are part of a cooperative agreement, so we're hoping to be able to capitalize on that. But I would think mid to late summer.
Probably when they're in Amarillo.
Correct. Yeah, they would try to time it with that for sure. That would save us some more mobilization and whatnot. So.
It's just a school issue, you know.
Right,
we can't-
yeah. No, we definitely would not do it during the school year. We try to avoid that. Now, when we go to the big project of a full rebuild, we'll have to work on alternative routes there for sure. That's part of our office. I don't see that probably being completed in less than 10 to 12 months. So, this is just for information. I'm happy to answer any other questions you guys may have.
Now that pothole right there in front, that's right there in front of the drive.
Here where the driveway is?
Oh.
It's so dangerous because I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody swerve to miss the pothole and almost hit a kid or a parent coming out of the car and like, wow, that's awful. I know they'll keep repairing it.
We do, yeah. That's not the third one we've done in the last probably 4 months. So it's just that.
That's all we need to
get everything out of it.
Well, it doesn't help that the DPS trooper sits right there, so we're watching him, the sun's in their eyes, they got a pothole.
Absolutely.
Kids playing froggers.
We've been using this aquafall stuff that's kind of activated by water,
Yeah.
and it seems to hold pretty well, but it's just temporary stuff. It's not a permanent fix.
Wanda, as we're talking Hensley, the bridge down the way, is that ours or is that TxDOT?
That is Texas. Talking about the overpass over 87. I did speak to Clint with TxDOT on that, and I'll go ahead and kind of give an update on that. Or actually, I spoke with, I asked Clint at the PPL policy board meeting. I mean, it wasn't Clint, it was Kip.
Yeah.
He said that late spring they're going to have that repaired. So hopefully we can open that back up. It's a little tight on the outside there, but.
That's from that piece of equipment hitting it underneath.
Yeah. It looks like the third beam from the south side is took the most damage to it. But he said that they have a plan in place to repair it, and they're hoping that spring they'll have that fixed. So, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you all.
All
All right, item number 11, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 05-2026, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, in order to make a nomination to fill a vacancy on Board of Directors of Randall County Appraisal District. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I talked to most of y'all about possibly some names. Mr. Burns and I have thrown out a couple names of people that we may run over with the bus to throw on this. Floyd Hartman was one of those names, and I talked to Darrell West. Both are willing to do it. If we want to nominate them, I don't know if anybody else has any other nominations, but.
And is there just one spot, or?
Yes, just one spot. Like y'all, they serve kind of just like you guys in the appraisal district. You know, Joe Shane was on there, he was actually the chair for a long time. We've had several on there. It's not very glorious, but they don't hear any of the appeals or any of that. They just oversee the district.
Commissioner Lynch, you want to put somebody out there?
Who you mad at?
We'll put Darrell out there, give him that.
Second.
We have a motion and second. With that, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
I'm quoting you on that, just so we're clear.
That looks like that.
He'll probably call me tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Commissioner.
Okay, with that, we will go into executive session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations about real property. With that, we have 5:04, and we will adjourn into executive session.